I think it says so much that the concern about anarchism is that it could devolve back into something like government, right? Like, oh no, we can't have freedom because we might end up with the system we have now.
We have been waiting for the Hail Mary pitch of the national media just deciding to give us a bunch of attention and let us on the debate stage, and then we get to catapult to the White House. It's not going to happen.
And we say things like, you know, what all Americans want is freedom. That's not true. We made that up. That's absolutely not true.
We need to agree on this one thing, and we need to go in there and hand these politicians their asses and say, you're done, we're in, and we're dismantling this money system, and we're going to bring the government back to the American people. And then once we give it back to the American people, guess what? The American people are going to decide what kind of society they want to live in.
Because the left started World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. Those are all started by Democrats. Vietnam is only because they didn't want to go, because there was a draft.
You're Luke Skywalker, man. Tell me something important. Teach me something that matters that I don't know, you know, or show me you're leading somebody else. And especially, I'm sorry, but like, we're the Empire killing the Sand People here and shit. Like, this is so obvious, Luke.
They tried to get people canceled back then. They got some people canceled, but, you know, it was mostly politicians. It was mostly people in power. And when you play a power game, when you decide you're going to be a Machiavellian, I mean, you expect to get your throat slit at some point, metaphorically. And, so, no, this is completely different. This is going after, like, regular people.
As long as people look at other people as people, and we can remember and think about our humanity and our individualism, then I think that people are inherently good. And I think it takes outside forces to otherize people.
Like, why are we here? Why are we here? Because we care about these real issues, because these are real human beings who are suffering, whose lives are being ruined. Let's try to come together and brush some of this stuff off and deal with these really important issues. Because all this other stuff is like symptoms. It's symptoms of the central problem. And unless you solve the central problem, then we'll be fighting over Mr. Potato Head forever.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching The Naturalist Capitalist. I'm your host, Reed Coverdale, and I've got Stacie Haneline on the other end. She's a good friend of mine. I've known her for about a year now. We were both Tulsi supporters, and we've both been on an interesting journey the last several months together. It's great to have you back on again, Stacie.
Thank you, Reed. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So the last time I had you on was, I think I can't remember if it was November or December, but it was several months ago. And you've started a pretty awesome YouTube channel since then, and it's growing pretty quickly. You've had lots of interesting people on. So you want to tell us a little bit about that? Why did you start it? What was your goal? And is it turning into what you wanted it to be?
Thanks, Reed. So it's called The Dissent. And one of the reasons why I titled it that is because I do think that people should argue with each other about stuff all the time, because the moment that there's just one opinion, that's when we'll truly know that free speech is dead.
Right.
And yeah, I'm really excited. Like I've had John Kiriakou, I've had Jacob Hornberger, who, you know, he was basically the reason why I joined the Libertarian Party, was because I really appreciated his message. I've had Pete Quinones, I've had you, I've had David Fight, I've had a lot of great guests. What I'm going to be doing soon is dropping like 5 to 10 minute truth bombs about government corruption, which is, I mean, that's, I guess, the main reason why I started the channel, was because I felt like there weren't enough people, especially not enough libertarians, who know these things. Like, there are not very many libertarians who are following John Kiriakou on Twitter. You know, all of progressives are, but a lot of libertarians aren't, especially the new ones. So they don't know that he's the one who uncovered the torture program. Which means, if they don't know that, then they probably don't know about a lot of the other government corruption. And I don't mean just government corruption, because I just want to say I really do want to be Luke Skywalker. And Scott Horton said that in your intro. And I really do want to be I do want to be as smart as Scott Horton and know, like, he knows all about government corruption. I know about DNC corruption. That's kind of like my forte. And it's because I learned about it from supporting Tulsi Gabbard and looking into like all of the reasons why she was censored and things like that. So I'm going to be dropping all that stuff very shortly.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think it's unique to being a Tulsi supporting libertarian that you kind of have this bridge to the anti-establishment left that a lot of other libertarians don't, like I mean, I kind of have my foot in that world still. I can still talk with people over there and they respect me because I supported Tulsi. And a lot of libertarians don't have that door. A lot of them don't have a door to anywhere. They're kind of in an echo chamber of libertarianism, which if you have to choose an echo chamber, I'd prefer you choose that one. But preferably you don't have any echo chamber. You kind of listen to people from all over the place,
Right. Because if there's anyone who you agree with 100% of the time, you should probably go get some kind of psychoanalysis or something.
Exactly.
And a lot of people agree with Tulsi 100% of the time. And I think that Tulsi's wonderful. She's a wonderful person. She means well. She wants to save the world. But I don't agree with her on everything. And, I would urge everyone to just fact check everything. Even Tulsi, even like whoever your hero is. If your hero is Nancy Pelosi, fact check her times a million. If your hero is Tulsi Gabbard, fact check her. If your hero is Tim Canova, fact check him. Fact check everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love Angela McArdle.
She's
so
great.
If you're a delegate, go to Utah. Wait, where's the convention going to be?
Actually, I don't even remember where it is.
2022.
Yeah.
Go to the LP convention, become a delegate, and vote for Angela.
I agree. I endorse that message.
Yeah,
it is the cult of personality and the hero worship in politics is really annoying anywhere. I mean, you see it in the Libertarian Party too. Even though we're supposed to be the party of individualism and free thought and freedom, we're still collectivists. People still get into their little cliques. And I'm one of the people who actually tries to fight that the most. I'm trying to see the bigger picture and, oppose the government. If we can get behind opposing the government, the other stuff is kind of small potatoes. But as humans, we do have that tendency to form groups, regardless of how anti-establishment our goal is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's important to make connections with people. It's really important, especially if you want to network yourself, you have to make connections, you have to talk to people, you have to get to know people, but I don't think that means or should ever mean that you have to agree with someone 100%. I think that, if Angela McArdle, if I told her that I agreed with her 100%, she would probably tell me to go have my head checked.
Right.
Fucking think for yourself. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what I like about you is you were talking about fact check earlier. You don't endorse anyone or support any cause until you know everything about it that you can find out, at least everything important. You dig for dirt first, and then you assess from there. And since the last time we talked, you actually did that with the Libertarian Party and the Mises caucus, and you have, for the first time in your life, found a political home. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that? What were you looking for? What did you find out? And why did you finally join the Libertarian Party and the Mises caucus?
Sure. So, like you said, I had always been apolitical. For example, I was invited to be a delegate for Tulsi at the DNC convention, and I could not sign on that dotted line at the bottom of the page pledging to be loyal to the DNC. So I just didn't do it. I just kind of didn't respond. And I had never been a part of a political party. I agree with Republicans on some things. I agree with Democrats on some things. I mostly disagree with both of them on most things.
Right.
And then like I said, Jacob Hornberger was really the one who kind of recruited me into the Libertarian Party. And I realized that, and Carrie Wedler too. Recently, I've been watching a lot of Carrie Wedler stuff. I watched both of your interviews with her. I think she's great. I think she makes some really good points. Primarily that government, we can't, what did you tweet the other day? You tweeted, it was sarcastic and it was funny. Like, let's solve government's problems with bigger government. Remember when you said that?
You might be thinking of, I said, eliminate the state by growing the state. I don't know if it was that one. I don't know. I put out so many little one-liners. I don't know which one it was, but
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Let's fix the problems it's causing by supplying more of it. That ought to do it. I don't know. Yeah, I put out so many.
Which was hilarious. I don't think it was that particular tweet, but it was something similar, and it was hilarious. And here's my thing. The federal government is taking our tax dollars and spending them on war. My fucking tax dollars are being spent on war. The federal government has lied to us. Hope you don't get cut off now from this live stream. They've lied to us. MK Ultra, Iraq,
Syria.
Syria. What was the where they gave black people syphilis in order to test the effects? I can't remember.
Carnegie. No, what was it? Man, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember. The Tuskegee something.
That's it. Tuskegee experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So all of these things, like, at JFK, like I was talking to Jacob Hornberger the other day about JFK, and just like the government has lied to us over and over and over and over again. And the intelligence agencies have so much power, and we are hardly, like, we're not privy to what they know.
Right.
And so how can there be checks and balances on a government that keeps secrets from us? So I'm kind of like blackpilled at the moment, to be honest. And you had a lot to do with that, and Carrie Wedler had a lot to do with that, and Jacob Hornberger. I've kind of gone further than Jacob Hornberger because he made it very clear to me that he's not an anarchist, which is fine. He doesn't have to be. I still really like him a lot. But I just don't see. So the Greens and the Democrats, not all of, well, the Greens and the progressives, I think that they are very, very close to realizing that no matter what they do, they can't get the federal government to give a shit about what they're saying, what they want, what the people need. So what's the next logical step?
Anarchy.
Fucking get rid of it, right? Get rid of it. Start over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I am right now. I don't know if this is like the
No,
dark age.
That's where I've gone too, because I have not been. I have not called myself an anarchist for very long. I've been toying with it for a while, and it was really after the lockdown started and the corporate bailouts started happening about a year ago. I first started thinking, like, what? I mean, why? Like, why do we have government still? But then I started my show, and I was like, no, I still think we need Department of Defense. We need something to sort of regulate, the what's going into the rivers. Like, we need some sort of EPA. Like, I had this like very, very basic skeletal structure that I thought the government should have, and then you just see that they don't. Once you have that basic skeletal structure that you're allowing the government to have, it never stays that size. You're giving up on your argument that government is evil, because once you say, well, it can do this, why can't it also do this and this? It's sort of like the Republicans with the minimum wage. Once they are fine with a $7 minimum wage, why not 15? Like, why is 7 okay as a minimum wage? They've already caved. They've already given up their argument as to why there shouldn't be a minimum wage at all. So then when you say, well, if we can have it at $7.25, what's wrong with 15? What's wrong with 20? What's wrong with and everything we're scared about that business could do is basically that it could end up being like government. Like, we're scared of monopolies. So what's a monopoly? When there's no competition and there's basically a guaranteed dominance for whatever company. It sounds a lot like a government, or we're worried about tribes rising up or different people taking leadership or warlords. It's like all of that exists now, and it's given legal immunity. Like, there's nothing you can do about it to change anything. So, I mean, that's what kicked me over finally, is just like, yeah, I mean, once you accept a basic premise for government, you have completely surrendered any argument you'd have anymore.
Yeah, and Reed, it's interesting, and I know that you and I have talked about this before, but what's interesting, like in the public-private debate, is that our Constitution does not protect us from other governments that are corrupt. So, for example,
we got an anarchist group chat, so he's definitely been an influence on me. So, just had to show his comment.
Magnus is awesome. He and I are going to talk next week. Actually, I'm really excited. Great. No, this week. No, today's Saturday. We're going to talk next week. What was I just saying? I forgot.
I forgot too. Damn it, Magnus! You threw me off.
Yeah, Magnus, I really have ADD. I don't know.
I had just said what kicked me over into anarchy finally was the idea, once you let the government do anything, what's to stop it from doing everything? And then you started to say something, and then he jumped in. So. Oh
yes. I don't know if I should bring this up or not, but a lot of people, one person in particular even asked me to ask you, to ask Tulsi about her involvement in the World Economic Forum. I'm not in favor of the World Economic Forum, particularly because they have these strategic partnerships with different corporations. And Facebook is on their list of strategic partners. Twitter was, but is not anymore. I think Jack Dorsey's really kind of fucking had it with everything. He's like, if it's the policy, then we'll do whatever. But anyways, if, you know, when we talk about censorship and stuff, by the way, well, I don't want to get into that whole thing right now, but there was a case, a SCOTUS decision that was recent, and I'm going to talk about that with our friend Austin. Big tech, there's a problem. But if big tech answers to like a world government, like if big tech answers to the World Economic Forum, I am afraid of the implications. But since that decision, that SCOTUS decision was basically, they just said it was moot. They said it was moot. There's so much to talk about with that. It's like there's so many things to explain. So if you guys are watching, please listen to my conversation with Austin when I release that.
Yeah. Do you think it's weird with Tulsi that she has involvement with these organizations that definitely hate her? You know, like the other one is the Council on Foreign Relations. Like that definitely doesn't seem like a place that's going to be open to any of the ideas she has. Do you think that's kind of weird that she's had ties with these organizations that diametrically oppose everything she's ever run on or ever voted for?
I really do. And I also think that it's weird that she has never mentioned the DNC fraud lawsuit or Jared Beck. And I also think that it's weird that she unfollowed Tim Canova on Twitter. I think that there are a lot of things that are weird. And, you know, I love Tulsi. I really love Tulsi's parents. I love her sister. I love her family, you know, and I love my friends. Most of my friends are Tulsi supporters, but I think that all of those things are weird. I really do. And, you know, like when I joke on Twitter about how I don't trust any of you motherfuckers, I really don't. Because, you know, we don't know. I don't know everything that there is to know about Tulsi. I just know what she shows us.
Yeah. Yeah. So, to get back to my question a little bit ago, I mean, yeah, you don't trust anybody, which is great, and you do your research. So why did you end up okay with the Mises caucus? What about it was impressive to you or seemed...
I never circled back. I'm sorry. So because the Mises caucus is the closest there is to like very, very, very limited government. And I don't even agree with the Mises caucus on everything. Like, you know, they're not democratic, for one thing. Mm-hmm. So I love them. I'm happy to be part of the group. I do, if we're going to have a government, and a political party is kind of a government. Like, a political party is like an organization of people who are getting together to decide how society should function. You know, like a lot of these philosophers, which I'm not like a gold star libertarian, because I haven't read all of those books. There's so many words in those books, right? I haven't read all of them. But, you know, a lot of them do talk about, you know, like how society should function. Like, you know, we're going to overthrow what we have just to put like something else in its place. And you were talking to Carrie Wedler about this. And I think you guys were kind of pontificating, like, what if we overthrow the government? And I'm not going to overthrow the government. Please don't call me a fucking domestic terrorist. I'm not going to do it.
You just got to own that label.
I'm just gonna watch while it happens. That's all. And then I'm gonna go into my underground bunker, because I know all of you members of Congress have your fucking underground bunkers. So I'm gonna go into my underground bunker. Yeah. So Mises Caucus, I joined Mises because it is the faction of people who believe in small government. But even with Mises, I do see like if you're gonna tell other people how they should live, then what's the point? Like, I don't want to tell anyone how to live. I don't want anyone telling me what to do, and that's why I don't tell other people what to do. And I don't want anyone telling me what to think, because they can fuck off. Like, anyone who tells me what to think can fuck off. And so if you don't tell me what to think, I won't tell you what to think. I won't tell you what to think regardless, And so that's, I don't know. I feel like that's anarchy. So maybe I'm an anarchist. But I'm also not going to cause violence to overthrow our government. So John Brennan, please don't fucking come after me the way you went after John Kiriakou, fuckhead. Sorry, I have so much anger, like pent up frustration with everything. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to drink some more water.
This is the place to let it out. Yeah, I like how you're reluctantly admitting you're an anarchist, because that means it's a true conviction, which is kind of how it happened with me. Because, I mean, if you excitedly jump into anything and you start reading a ton of theory because you want to become that, in my opinion, that's not as it's not as natural and not as sincere. Like, when you start believing something that you really don't want to believe, or you start getting dragged into something that you really don't want to be, that's when it's like the most sincere it can get, because your mind is getting there and your heart still doesn't want it. You're like, no. Like, anarchy, that's scary. Like, keep me away from that. And, but I mean, if your mind arrives there, then your heart is going to be there too eventually. There's not really anything you can do about it.
Right. And like, I am what I am, and I know what I know, and I'm going to tell the truth about stuff, and it's going to get me censored and silenced. But what else can I do? Like, I have to do, you have your role, like, what you need to do in order to make a difference. And this is what I need to do. I need to tell people shit that, my neighbor, she's such a sweetheart. I love her. She watched my interview of John Kiriakou, and she was like, I couldn't watch the whole thing because it was just so scary. And I was like, yeah, like, it's scary. So a lot of people, there are going to be scary things, and they're not going to want, it's like cognitive dissonance. They're going to say, no, that can't be true, because, I live in this perfect little bubble, and, it's not violence that's protecting me. That's not why I have such a good life. It can't be. It can't be that there's this corrupt government that's murdering people in my name. That's not it. So a lot of people aren't going to want to listen or know these things, but I'm still going to try to tell people these things.
Yeah, well, I think you've done a great job so far, and your reach has been pretty good. You're growing at a natural rate more quickly than I did. Like, I made that stupid M1 Garand bump firing video, and that rocketed me to like 2,000 subscribers because it went viral. But
that was awesome.
I had 2,000 subscribers, and I was still getting 30 views on my episodes because they were there for that gun video, not for what I was actually putting out. Like, your natural growth has been pretty impressive, and your growth has been commensurate with the views that you're getting on your videos, and you have interesting guests. So even if you are being throttled on YouTube or shadow banned already, you're doing a pretty great job for how long you've been going at it, because you've only had it for what, 3 months now? Has it been like 3 or 4 months? Or
yeah, I think so. I think I started it in the beginning of February. Oh
yeah.
I've done, I don't know, like 21, 22 videos or something like that. But I really haven't even gotten started like with dropping information. And I don't mean like, somebody called me a Q lizard today. Like Fiorella from Combo Couch retweeted one of my tweets, and then some blue wave idiot said something, don't trust her. She's a libertarian. What are you doing? Are you going full Q? Like, as if like I'm a QAnon because I'm a libertarian. Like, right. Thanks, John Brennan. Thanks for putting us in that category. So, yeah. So, the insult, I just kind of like scoop all of the insults together and just say like, I was called a Q lizard for just dropping a video of Hillary Clinton trying to deny that she suggested that our government drone Julian Assange.
Right.
That's all. It's just a video of her denying it. She goes, I don't recall ever saying that, but if it had been said, it would have been a joke.
Right.
That's all. It wasn't even like, I'm not making anything up. I'm just dropping Hillary Clinton's video. And I'm a Q lizard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is funny how if you oppose the establishment narrative, you instantly get grouped in with people that you don't really have anything in common with necessarily. And, we saw that happen to Tulsi a lot, just because I was talking to Dave about this when I was on his show. She was called like a crazy right winger, because she just took on Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris. And I used to think like, dang, I wish she was more of a right winger. I wish she was like fiscally conservative and, didn't want gun control or whatever. Like, that would be great. But if you don't fit into their box, they only have 2 boxes. Like, you're one of us or you're one of them. And the one of them box is everything they don't like, just all grouped into one compartment, regardless of what your beliefs are. That's where they put you.
Right. And I don't want to be grouped. I think that's so funny that, like some people thought that Tulsi was a Q lizard. I think it's hilarious. Like, I don't really like it that Tulsi is a member of the World Economic Forum, because I don't like the things that, the World Economic Forum's stated goal is to own half of the land on the planet by the year 2050.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? To be honest, because I'm Stacie for Truth, I read that in a Time magazine article, and I haven't had time to. I also bought Klaus Schwab's book, like the Fourth Industrial Revolution or whatever, and he didn't say that in his book, so I don't know where that little factoid came from. And like I said, I always fact check everything. I do know that like Joe Biden was saying like we're gonna give farmers land grants And if they grow what we want them to grow, then, they'll make more money or whatever. So I don't remember. What was my point, Reed? Bring me back. Help me, please.
Oh man, I get lost. Like I'm following your train of thought. So wherever it goes, I go with it.
Right.
Let's see.
I don't remember the question. You were really great on Part of the Problem. I watched the whole thing. You were awesome.
Yeah, that was great that he gave me that opportunity. He's been very helpful in facilitating my publicity. So I give him thanks. Oh, we were talking about how if you don't fit into the box of what the establishment wants, then you're just automatically in the other box. They only have 2. They don't have 10 boxes. Like, you're just with them or against them. So
right. And I really don't fit into any box. And I guess I started talking about Tulsi because, that was kind of like Tulsi's thing, was like, you can't categorize me. You can't put me in a box. And you can't categorize me either. I don't even agree with Tulsi on everything. So I don't want to be categorized. I don't think, and if anyone agrees with me 100% of the time, please go get your fucking head checked. Seriously. And thank you, Reed. Yeah. Thank you, because you and I became friends like about a year ago when we argued about something. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember arguing with you and being mad at you, and then realizing that you had a point on whatever it was. Like, you had a good point. Yeah. You probably made me an anarchist a year ago. We just didn't know it yet.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Most of the lasting relationships I have politically are born out of conflict. They're not born out of alliance usually. Like, usually it's you're getting into an argument with someone and you're like, wow, this guy really makes sense and I want to know more about them, and then you do that. I mean, that's how Dave and I became friends. Like, it was confrontational at first, and now we're great friends, and that's awesome. And it actually it makes the friendship easier, because if you start out friendly, then when you run into conflict, it gets uncomfortable. Whereas if you start out a conflict, then whenever it gets friendly, it's easy. And then if you arise a conflict again, you already know how to deal with it. You already know, okay, this person's solid, or on the same side, and you can duke things out and get on with your life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of easier that way.
Yeah. Okay, so my best friend from like kindergarten and first grade, she made fun of me on the playground before we became friends. Like, she said something mean. I don't remember what it was. And then I told my mom about it. I was like, oh, she said this to me. And my mom was like, well, maybe she was just trying to get your attention. And so I don't know what happened, but we became friends after that. But you're right. It's if you can disagree with someone and then talk about stuff and work it out. And Angela McArdle talked about this on Pete Quinones's show like a few days ago. She said we can and we should say stupid stuff, and then we should work it out like adults. She said something like that. And I think that's right. Like, we shouldn't like hold back from saying stupid shit. Like, we're not going to be like, follow the principles of the Libertarian Party all the time. No matter what you do, make sure to stick with the principles. Like, I don't think that's it's just not human, really, to just let that guide your entire existence. And and if you have thoughts that don't align with the LP's principles, that you should, like, if you don't disagree with the LP on anything, then get your fucking head checked.
Yeah. I am not into forced group thought and lack of dissent. Dissent is a great thing. So you've got a great channel because you named it The Dissent. But I mean, the idea of questioning the status quo, regardless of what the status quo is, even though the Libertarian Party platform isn't status quo to the world, to us it is. So we should be questioning it. And if you don't question your own philosophy or challenge it, then it's fucking useless. You know, like that's, I mean, what good are your principles if you only have them because you've never questioned whether or not they make sense? You know, like vigorous debate over things should be good, even amongst ourselves. You know, like I know like abortion and immigration are two things that a lot of libertarians don't see eye to eye on. And so this whole unity idea doesn't mean don't talk about things you disagree on. It means like, no, have those discussions, have those debates, just realize the big picture at the end of the day, realize who the enemy is. You know, it's not the idea of not dealing with problems that we have or not talking with each other where we disagree. It's just about not missing the forest for the trees, not creating an enemy out of someone who disagrees with you on 1% of the issues while they're turning us into a police state and taking our rights away more and more. And I think a lot of people misunderstand that, you know, that unity doesn't mean covering problems up and not dealing with them. I think it's better to deal with them. You know, if we have a strong disagreement or if someone's been shitty to somebody, we should confront it and talk about it and figure out how to get past it, because the overall fight that we're in is so much more important than whatever that incidental problem is. So it's not about covering things up. It's not about ignoring people who have questions. It's not about shut up and get in line and vote libertarian. It's the opposite. It's actually, let's deal with all these things and talk about them, but just don't forget, you know, what's really going on here and what the big picture is.
Right. And what's really going on here is that our government is doing some really shady shit. Yeah. So I don't, you know, I try to stay away from the messaging debates, you know, the libertarian messaging stuff, because it kind of makes me feel like I want to stab my eyeballs out with a fork, because you know, I don't really like, okay, for example, the whole Title IX thing where women's sports, the whole women's sports issue. I don't fucking care, because I do not think that the federal government belongs in education. Like, period. Done. I don't care. Don't bother me with Title IX shit. I don't care. And on that note, by the way, woke people, guess what? If you really, like, if this is the hill that you're going to die on, just consider this, okay? If you, like these children who can afford to get a sex change, are elitists. Like, if your family can afford to buy you a sex change at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, then you're probably like an elitist child. So we're arguing about like an elitist issue. I'm not arguing about it. I don't, you know, don't want to talk about it. I don't care. I want the federal government out. You know, and like, I was a teacher. And I worked in Title I schools, so we got funding from the federal government. And I wouldn't have left teaching if there weren't so many people telling me what to do all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad's a teacher, and it drives him nuts. All the administrators and all the rubrics and all the rules he has to follow. And He's almost done though. He's only got a few years left. But yeah, I mean, I don't even have a personal opinion outside of. Oh, he's not your typical public school teacher for sure. So.
Yeah, no, he seems really, really smart, and he has read all of those books. You know, like he's an English lit teacher, right?
Yes.
I need to finish watching that because I watched part of it, but I didn't watch the whole thing. Yeah, he seems really cool and really smart.
Yeah, have you ever seen the movie Good Will Hunting before? With who's in that? It's
Matt Damon. I don't remember what it was about.
No, not wrong one. Not Good Will Hunting. The other one. Shoot, what's it called? Now I'm spacing on the title. It's about the English teacher, or it's the college professor who gets kicked out of. It has Robin Williams. Robin Williams is the star of the movie, and he's a teacher in a college. I can't remember the name of the movie. Man, that really pisses me off. There's that famous scene where all the students get up on the desk and say, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," when he's leaving. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Or
I think I do. I think I might have seen it a long time ago.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the name, but that's my dad. Like that, he's that type of teacher. Like they didn't. He's too popular at the school, so they can't run him out. But if they could, they would, because he's a disruptor for sure. Cares more about he cares more that his kids are learning and that they're effective writers and that they're effective thinkers than that they follow the rubrics, and that really makes the establishment at the school mad. So
yeah.
Oh, Dead Poet Society. Thank you. That's it. That's the movie.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll check that out.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That is the movie. It's very good. But that's my dad. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on again, Stacie. We'll do it more in the future.
Oh, Reed, can I tell you one more thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Vaccine passports. I have a friend who is a teacher at NSU in Florida, and the dean there is still requiring everyone to be vaccinated prior to the fall semester. So I will keep you posted on that, and I'll keep other people posted on that. Because we do need somebody to fight this. And I talked to Angela about this yesterday. So let's really keep up the fight against these vaccine passports because they're bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been speaking out against them pretty strongly here on YouTube and on Twitter, and I think it's catching on. I was talking to my parents back in New Hampshire, and they said in New Hampshire, people are not okay with the idea. So that's the goal. We don't want to be fighting this once it becomes law. We want to keep it from ever becoming law because that's much more effective. But yeah, Stacie, we'll do this again. I'll just give you a chance to plug anything else you want to, any last words, and then we'll end the stream.
Just please subscribe to my channel. If you go to my Twitter page, it's in my profile thingy, like right there in the, I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Just go to Stacie for Truth and then click on the link, and then please subscribe because I'm going to be dropping a lot of stuff really soon. And Reed, thank you so much for having me on the show. It was so good to catch up with you.
Absolutely. And I'll and her YouTube channel if you can't find them anywhere else. So just look down the video, go follow her on Twitter, and subscribe to her on YouTube. Thank you, Stacie, once again.
Thank you, Reed.